Qantas is to reduce its international flight capacity by 90% and plans to cut domestic services by 60% because of the impact of the coronavirus. The latest moves will be phased in from the end of the month and stay in place until at least the end of May. The news comes as investors braced for more big falls on the share market, especially after Wall Street saw its biggest drop in 3 decades overnight. But the market here got off to a surprisingly strong start. Finance reporter David Taylor joins us now from the Australian stock market. Hi, David. So Qantas, first of all, then, these are drastic moves from the airline.
Indeed, Ros. Now, the key point here is that travel has been restricted by both governments, and of course you've got a huge reduction in demand coming from international travels as well as the coronavirus fears take hold. So if you've got a significant reduction in demand, you've got to counter that with a significant reduction in costs as well. So that's essentially the game plan, if you like, from Qantas here. But the cost cutting is coming at the expense of international and domestic travel. But that is the key point here. They're trying to cut costs as much as they can, and by grounding aircraft, that's the best way to do it.
So what are passengers who have tickets for services that are being cancelled, what should they do?
Well, there's several stages to the booking process, of course. If you are jumping onto the Qantas website and you're making a booking and you fear that the flight that you're taking will be grounded, then obviously the best thing to do is to work out whether it is actually going to be grounded, whether your flight is one that is not going to happen. In which case, Qantas has announced a booking waiver. Now, I assume that means that it won't cost you any money to then scrap that booking. But in addition to that, if you cancel your flight, I haven't seen any evidence that you're actually going to get a refund for that flight. So in effect, what you'll do is what Qantas is calling a travel credit voucher. So I assume that means that once, as you mentioned, in May, this will come to an end. If the pandemic is brought under control and things return to normal and you decide, oh, you do want to travel to the United States or you do want to travel to Canada, then you'll have that credit in order to jump back on the website and resurface your booking and get on the plane and book your seat. So it looks like apart from no refunds, it looks like travellers will be able to cancel their bookings without cost and, of course, keep that credit voucher for a future flight.
OK, and how are Qantas shares doing, David?
Not so good. We've got, in fact, last check it was down 5%, 4.5%. Qantas has had a strange trading morning, though, because it was down at one point, as I mentioned, about 4.5%, 5%. It was down around 1%, so some buying activity moved in. The problem, though, is that, and it's the same that's happening with the share market, we're seeing lots of efforts to contain the damage. Qantas has done that today, but the pandemic still exists, and we still don't know exactly what the effect on the economy will be, the impact on the economy. So traders are trying to work that out within the Qantas stock itself, but they're also trying to work that out in the share market. And we've got a bit of a bounce today, but we still essentially don't know the economic impact, and that's what's creating, Ros, so much volatility.
Okay, as we said, David, we were expecting our overall market to fall again, but it did open higher, as you've said. Some good news. How's it doing now, and what was behind those early gains?
That's right, Ros. It's just at last check, it was up 2%. It's been wavering a little bit. As buyers have come in, sellers have gotten the better of those buyers and pushed the market back down again, but the buyers have been coming in again. So up 2% now, which is a huge relief. I have to say, though, with caution, that this can happen in bear markets. So we're in a peak to trough fall still of around about 30%. And getting a bounce like this is nothing unusual in terms of a broader bear market. So we can't rule the bear market out at this point, but I would just mention a couple of interesting stocks. The banks are doing well, BHP is doing well. It was recently upgraded by a broker, meaning that the broker thinks there are better things ahead for BHP. Gold stocks are doing well, and the media stocks are doing well, so the likes of News Corp. On the flip side, of course, Qantas is getting hurt today, Webjet and Caltex, due to that oil price crash we saw last weekend. So overall market up 2%. We have factored in a recession at this point. The falls are significant that the market is anticipating a recession. Beyond that, Ros, though, we don't know at this point.
David, thanks for the update.